Yeah.
These fucking disgusting 35-point candles are just insane right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of people probably getting chopped to death trying to play this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Jesus, I got too many damn boxes on this chart, man. I can't see shit.
I was going to ask you about that, but you have a really good system, so I'm never doubting.
Yeah, it's driving me crazy. I can't see a damn thing. All right. Let's make some magic happen. Okay, there was your A+. All right, let's see what we can do. What do we have? What do we have? How do we get involved where it makes the most amount of sense?
By spectating.
Where are you, Mr. Opportunity? Man, ain't no fun in that. What's wrong with you?
Oh, trust me, I know. It's just
I'm just bullshitting you, man.
I know that. Like, I just
Realistically, there was an opportunity. That Bollinger Band poke.
Are you talking about the one at 1050?
11
Sorry,
o'clock.
I'm on the 30-second chart on on Trade-Evade. Well,
Yeah, that would have been there at 1046. That would have been a pretty good one, too. Yeah, I mean, anything that's a Bollinger Band poke at the bottom with this cloud, green or, teal, whatever, representative upside momentum is a good opportunity to buy. It just puts you in a good spot to where you can pull your stop to break even pretty quick,
Yeah, so you shouldn't be looking for shorts when that cloud is green, or just be very careful about it.
Yeah, be very careful. Be very careful.
Gotcha.
I mean, the ideal spot was like I missed the, it was just brought up, right? So that, this was an A+ setup that got voided up here. However, it was a over and under A+ setup right here, so it's still valid in terms of an A+ long. And until that VIX gets back above here, I mean, it's supportive, right? It come back into it, and we're holding below the daily range, so it's tough to say. That's not a good long.
The same cloud indicator? Or is this a trading view only thing?
I don't think he heard you, my man. You might want to try again.
The clouds, is that a trading view only thing, or does Trade-Evade have the same one?
Yeah, they got the same one. All it is an EMA. But on Trade-Evade, it's called Wonder Cloud. The Volume 2 is the one that I would use. If it's on Trading View, this one here is just a Best Cloud all MA.
Hey, Magnum, what's the volume profile study you use on TradingView?
It's this one right here. Visible range.
Visible range.
Yeah.
Got it. Thanks, brother.
No problem. And I changed mine up a little bit. So right here, where it says row size, the only thing I did is I put it to 100, so it allows me to get down to like the tick level, rather than make it a zone.
Got it. Cheers.
Cool, man.
Wish Trading Views volume profile was like Trade of Eights, where it just stuck on the side for the whole session.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck. Magnum, did you say it was row size 100?
Yeah. I think that's what I said.
Sorry. Yeah.
Row size 100, value area 70.
Awesome. Magnum, on the really good trade you had earlier, it looked like you were in before that, like that 5-minute A+ setup.
Yeah.
What was the rationale for? Was that like a 1-minute setup, or what made you get in there?
Man, I think it was a 5-second setup this morning.
I mean, you could not have executed that any fucking better.
No, I mean, I had 0 drawdown. I was
like literally
like this candle right here. This one right here, I was that candle. Literally. That was the candle I got.
I love that.
And then I got a little bit more right here. And then I also bought this poke right here.
Yeah.
So I had 3 orders set up in here, but majority of my position was this candle.
God. Beautiful.
But that was me looking at an A+ setup, right, off of a 1-minute chart. But then I scrolled back down into, I don't know, was I on a 5-second or 15-second? I can't remember what it was, but it was something. It might have been a 5-second.
Yeah, I missed that whole move. I got to reevaluate going to the gym in the morning. You guys are having all the fun.
That's what it was right here. I was on a 15-second, I guess. Yeah, because if you box this right, it was an A+ setup, whatever it was. There was your lower low, right? And then we poked a Bollinger Band right in here.
Nice.
But it all fed through, right? Like it was an A+ setup here,
Yep.
and then it moved to like a 30-second, moved to a 1-minute, then it finally moved to a 5-minute before it finally just kind of really grabbed some real traction.
Yep. Around the 6 a.m. time frame. Beautiful.
Pretty wild. All right, so what do
Dude,
we have?
can you DM me a link for that coffee thing?
Yeah, man, for sure.
Sounds
That's
I
the
mean,
best.
if it gets your stamp of approval, I need to look into this.
That's the best damn thing I ever bought in a while. It'll jack you up though, man. I ain't shitting you. You might not be able to stand yourself at times.
I'll deal with that. Dude, how's the little fella's football season going?
Oh my god, dude. They got absolutely slaughtered Saturday.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude, it was 50-6.
What position does he play?
He was an outside linebacker.
Love that.
He is. So he was up against a guy Friday or Saturday. Like literally Ryland could have stood if he had cloned himself side by side, and the guy was still wider than Ryland was.
What age?
He's playing 9U. So
Oh my god.
yeah, dude, this guy was huge. So he gave Ryland a hard time all day Saturday. But they got tore up. But no, he's doing good, man. It's finally, I was worried. I was like, all right, well, I don't know how, because Ryland's wrestled for 2 years, and he's always done good at wrestling. But it's an individual, very much an individual sport type deal. I didn't know how he'd do with this team stuff, and he's taking hold of it. I think he's finally getting around to trying to understand how to work together better as a team rather than hey, I'm just gonna stop everything. But
Is it tackle?
oh yeah, man, it's the real deal.
Gotta love the South, man.
Yeah, it's a real deal, brother. These boys got bruises all over them. Look like someone beat the shit out of them. Oh.
So have you seen? So obviously you were in that position pre-market. Have you seen anything actionable since the New York Open? Like
No.
kind of looking back, because obviously you were managing your trade, but I see something at like a 1 minute chart, call it like a 10-11 candle, like execution. There's like a little 1 minute BB trade, but that's kind of it. Like
Yeah.
into like the 9 a.m. Volume bar.
Yeah, right here.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, that would be actionable, actually. Yeah, because I mean, it broke above it, retested back into it for sure. That was actionable.
Yeah, I caught that one.
The best thing that I'm seeing is like what we're currently seeing right now.
Yeah, I already got shaken out of this.
Yeah. The only thing that I see that's kind of a little bit iffy about this trade is you've got a 5 minute setup trying to develop, right? And then you've got the VIX that it's just kind of doesn't know what the hell it wants to do at the moment. You know, it made resistance, or it made support off of that, and now it's trying to make, resistance of it. So this is a coin flip. It could go either way. This could be either over under, or this could be an actual real short. So hard to say at the moment, without some context from the VIX. But that's a huge range, from 657, to 568. That's huge, I'd almost have to sit on my hands right here because of the fact of just not. I mean, that was a good trade. You know what I mean? You could have gotten in on that Bollinger Band poke, which would have made it, an A+ over under. Either right here too, you would have got in and still not been stopped out, even on this candle, right? Both of those are beautiful entries, either or. But you done gotten rid of. Say you got in there here over as an over under. What in the hell did I grab? Grab the price tool. So you would have gotten in. You would have sold one here. Sold another one up here. I mean, you basically minimally could have got 42 points off of it. You know what I mean? Or 40-ish points. Before you got stopped out over here, of course. But 40-ish points on an over under, it's pretty sporty. I don't know. Just not a mix. I mean, it's just mixed signals right here. I mean, the way we're doing this support resistance deal on the VIX, it's just nothing's clear. So therefore, it just at best, or you're forcing a trade, or at least flipping a coin, saying, "Hey, this could go either way," is what it could do.
You mind if I shoot you a question real quick?
So,
I wanted to ask you, this is Bobby, by the way. Let's say you have a higher high, and then you put your box there. Price works its way underneath the box, looking like it's going to be a short. Then let's say price action goes up through the box, and now it's on top. So it looks like it could be like an under over. Once it goes under the box and then works its way above the box, our bias is changed to a long, correct?
that is correct. Yep.
Now, at what point is that invalidated? Like if it tries to go back down below the box, is that setup invalidated at that point?
Yep. So I'll give you a great example of that right here, right now. So this is the candle that, well, this is probably the best damn example, because this already played, this over under already played out, but I'll show you how it could have been invalidated. So this would have been your A plus, or your this would have been a short, is what this should have been, but it's a failed short. Okay. And it become a failed short because this Bollinger Band come up in the box, right? Before you could actually break down below the box. So altogether, this box shouldn't no longer really be here at the moment. But so price come back down, hit that Bollinger Band and took off. Well, if for whatever reason it become invalid, it would have become invalid as an over under if price would have got down here and took out the bottom of this wick. Does that make sense? So that would have actually been, so if you were getting long right here for an over under setup, you would have had to have given yourself at least that much before you could have completely invalidated this whole over under setup. You know what I mean? Because it's either going to take out the wick on the bottom, say for instance, price come down here and touch the bottom of the box, or come down here and touch maybe middle of the wick of this candle. It didn't invalidate the over under. It could have easily took right back off, especially if it had wick down here and the Bollinger Band been up there. Now, for the chance that this was a regular setup, right? Say price didn't come up in here and do all this, actually come back down and then come back up into the box. Well, you got to give yourself maybe 2 or 3 ticks above this wick of the box you've got to draw the candle of before you can invalidate that whole setup, right? It needs to take out that high in order to invalidate it. So same deal for the over-under.
All right, thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. I appreciate it.
No problem, brother.
Magnum, let me piggyback off that too, because you know me, I've always had a damn trouble with these boxes for whatever reason, because there's so many different exceptions to the exceptions and different ways you can play them. But so you're over under, I guess, to simplify for my mind, I look at it as like a continuation box to the upside, because like you said, this would typically be a short if price moved up to wherever it was and then it fell down below 620, then you would look to short off the box, in theory, correct?
Well,
But-
yeah, if only if an A plus did not present itself.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if the Bollinger Bands, that's my next question, but let's just say the Bollinger Band stayed down there, where it says 100 futures or something, and it never came up into the box. If it goes over and under, and then, you try to short off of it, then that's typically what you would do. But you're saying this box can act as a continuation to the upside if price goes above the break like it did, but then the Bollinger Band follows it up into the box, then you take a long off the box to continue up.
You
right?
got it. You got it.
Oh, okay. So that and obviously inversely on the short side. So
And
okay.
so, in a great way of looking at that too is having some confluence, right? So you knew this was an A plus, should have been a short, but it become a failed short right here, you know, at 1046. Well, if you're looking at the market at 1046, you say, okay, well, let's go check out the VIX at 1046. Okay. Well, no, hell no. You'd been. I couldn't have took that because we showed. Yeah, I could not have took that actually. To be honest with you, you would want to see this VIX below the daily range right now because it would be showing. And this is probably a good reason it didn't work out so well. Is because the VIX was up here, right? But nonetheless, so if you've seen that setup at son of a buck, why did I mash that one? That's not the one I wanted. Okay. 1046, you've seen this setup, Bollinger Band's coming up in here, and you've seen the potential for the A plus over under, which, you know, was the failed short, become long. Go over to the VIX, look at the same time frame. If we're inside now, if the price would have been inside that daily range, I would have took that particular trade with size. You know what I mean? So I have to adjust my risk based upon what I'm seeing. Right. So you knew momentum is down, you know, on the VIX. It's just not inside that range. So knowing this, you can't put everything you have on the table to try to buy that. You know what I mean? So reduce your size based upon the risk. You know what I mean?
Exactly, because I wasn't getting. I'm glad you pointed that out on the VIX because that's what I was seeing, and I was just like, all right, I'm fucking stupid. Something I'm obviously missing. So if it comes down, okay, and it has the failed short, like you said, and you can take it even though it doesn't necessarily line up with the VIX, but that's most likely not going to be one. Excuse me. That's not going to be one of these where, you know, you might get 100 or, you know, some crazy amount of points out of, but it could be a possibility of a good scalping potential with reduced size. Correct?
Absolutely. Perfect.
Okay.
Yep. Because if you notice me, like, say for instance, this morning, I used a pretty good bit of size to get in that trade. Well, you know, there was a lot of things that were, you know, were saying, hey, that's a good trade to get in. And I had very little risk on the table at the time I took the trade. So I took it with a lot of size. Well, this right here, say if I was taking, you know, thinking about using the same size, I would cut that in minimal half, right? To take this trade. Knowing that there's just that much more risk on the table, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just okay. So yeah, just read that as a, like you said, a failed short. It's a continuation to the upside or has potential to be one.
Yep.
Take it with reduced sized and potentially those are just little moves you can make to kind of double dip on some of the same trades. Because I think you exited like around 670, 680, like almost the top, right?
Yep.
So if price would have came down there to 630, 640, then you could have literally just scalped out your exit for another, you know, 20, maybe 30 points or something like that, just to really,
Yeah.
you know, really squeeze as much blood out of stone as you can. So, okay.
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay. Awesome.
Because I mean, you know, these things, it's like the old age thing, right? These things
Born
go
and
further
filled.
than we think, you know, in either direction. So it's just one way or another to capture, you know, either way of it, you know, pretty much.
And that's another thing too, because when something doesn't when you know make sense, obviously you hunt for answers. So would you say that may be because I didn't see any news or anything, so that may be on me. But with Price doing these crazy ass wicks excuse me, candles, 20, 30 points
Order
right on
filled.
that box, maybe that's what people are doing. Scalping up 10, 20 points and then selling everything, and then it retraces, and it's just
Boom, boom.
yeah, it's just continuous. It's just a continuous thing again and again and again.
Yeah. Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy, exactly what it become, Absolutely. Here's one thing to think about right here, guys. We do know the VIX is above its daily range, weekly range, shown it to be support and taken back off. And it looks like momentum to the downside is falling out of it. Something to be mindful of here. The NQ, God, I do that every time. The NQ has a BB setup right here, but it has a huge box attached with it. So you have to assume, what is this box? This box is huge. It's 89 points. Okay. There's nobody in your right mind going to take 89 points of risk, right? So the only way that you could get involved in this potential short would be if it happened something like that right there, right? And price come back up into the top of that box and you took your short up there, okay? What in the hell have I done here? And then you could say, okay, well, if the Bollinger Band come back up in here and you poked it at the top of that box, well, you reduce your risk from 89 points roughly to, I don't know, maybe 13 points. You know what I mean? If you could enter at the top of that box somewhere up in here to take that short down, you would reduce that risk to, maybe 13.75, something like that, something of that sort. But it only could happen if it don't come up in here to the top of the box. If this Bollinger Band come down in here and it made an A+ setup down here in the lower side of this box, that would be a tough trade to take, knowing that you would have from whatever this poke was all the way up here to the top of that candle before this trade could be completely, voided in terms of not being a valid short anymore. So
Can you stay on this for just a minute, Magnum? Because this is where I get absolutely destroyed. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't take 90 points worth of risk. But here's a perfect example. So are you waiting for price to go above it? You can see it did there on the on the blue and purple candles. So price goes above, and then are you saying if the Bollinger Band comes down around 660 and price is in the box and comes up to it, to take that short, risking 15 points, or wait for the setup to go below the box down there at 570 or something, and then retrace all the way back up to 660? Because I'd be shorting the bottom of the box, and that's where I would get wrecked.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen is I couldn't trade one single contract and take 100 points of risk, or damn near 100 points of risk. That's just crazy. Like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. So that I was just saying the only way that I could feel comfortable taking this trade would be at the upper end of this box. If it happened down here at the lower end of the box, I could not take that short, even though I knew the short was still valid, right? So then I say, okay, to myself, well, how can I take advantage of this opportunity that I know is a short because this is valid, the VIX is supporting it. So what I would do is I would look for a momentum play. Like, say all this played out in the short, the short actually happened and price come down here. You know what I mean? Well, say price come back up in here to the cloud, you know what I mean? And say the cloud went from teal to purple over here, right? And by the time price come back up in here and touch that cloud, it was already purple. So now I could feel more comfortable taking a short down here because I know if I'm wrong, I've reduced my risk from those 89 points to maybe 15, 20 points just on the other side of the cloud, you know? Or say that the Bollinger Band come down here and it widened up and then come back down and price come up here and poked the Bollinger Band, right? And the cloud went from teal to purple. Well, we know the momentum's down. That's a momentum sell all day long, right? So I would sell right here with even less risk, you know, maybe 6.5 points with the anticipation that the short is going to continue. And I'm able to reduce my risk, via the entry just by waiting for the setup to develop a little more. I hope that makes some sense.
Yeah, it does, but I may not be explaining my question correctly. So if price breaks down below the box, let's just say hypothetically this is a 20-point box instead of an 80. Then that would typically be a short setup, right? You have the over under. It goes up above the box, price comes below the box, and then you'd reject off the box in theory, right? So I guess my question is, if price were to break down below the box and then come back into the bottom of the box at 570, okay, that's where I would take that short, maybe putting 15 points on it or something like that. But you're saying that you would never take that. So you're saying you would never take that because of the, because you would need to put an 80-point stop on it, which obviously you're not going to do.
Yeah.
So, that's where I probably get destroyed on my 15-point stop because it would just range in the box. But let's say hypothetically the Bollinger Band were to come down to the bottom of the box and price broke through and retraced back up to kind of make an A setup short. Would you take it then?
No.
Damn, really? Okay, because of the size of the candle, right?
Yeah, because you got to understand something. Like, this is the risk of the trade. You know what I mean? This candle is the whole risk of the trade. So it can actually wick all the way up to the top of the box and never void that trade.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Okay.
You know what I mean? So then you have, and that's why I would never ever take that trade. Only the way I'd take that trade would be if price could come up here and meet the Bollinger Band at the top of that box to reduce my risk to maybe 13.75. Otherwise, I would be looking down here to take that short trade, and at a discount in terms of reduced risk goes.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love and hate these damn things.
Yeah, I know, man. And it's not easy. It's like, after you do it a while, it may be intuitive, but to see the future, right? Like what I just described, that's kind of seeing the future. Like, but you've got to do this for a long, long, long time and know how these things move, and in order to be able to just look at this and say, there's no way in hell I'm taking this, but I will take it down here, which intuitively, that makes no damn sense. Why are you going to short something at 507 and not 607? You know what I mean? That's 100 points lower. Well, yeah, that's 100 points, but then I also think about, well, I've got 6 points of risk here versus 70 points of risk here. You know what I mean? And our job as traders is not so much as, yeah, it is making money, but the way you make money is you reduce your risk at all times and mitigate that risk. And that's ultimately how it's done.
Hey, Magnum.
Hey.
On the 30-second chart, there was a BB poke. Would you have gone short on that in that situation? It happened at 11:30.
11:33.
Yeah. I'm also on trade rate, so if it didn't, I can't really see your screen.
That's a valid poke. You got it, brother.
Yeah, so you would have gone short there.
Down to the Bollinger Band. Boom, boom. Yeah.
Okay.
Hell, I mean, you would have gotten 2 filled out right there, man. That's pretty good. So you'd got 1 filled at 13.75, and then you got the other one filled at the Bollinger Band, damn near, 27 points. Beautiful trade. That's exactly what you look for, though, man. Those pokes with momentum.
Order filled.
Yep, and then because the red one didn't poke, it was time to enter the short.
No, my order would have been sitting there. I mean, if you watch price come
Order
up into
filled.
there, I would have actually been watching this candle if I was trying to scalp this. I would have been my order on this Bollinger Band right here, waiting for this to come and wick it, right? To sell it off into the lower Bollinger Band. And so you're just chasing the Bollinger Band with price, as it develops. And then, you slide your order right here,
Okay. And that's at 11:30 at the Bollinger Band?
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And you sell it right off into, momentum play.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
No problem, man.
And in situations like that, your stop is at the top of the wick, right?
Yep.
Okay, so like that, you had a lower band poke at that first green pip on the left there. That very first green pip.
Right here? Oh, here.
Very first one. There we go. So like that one, if you were trying to scalp it up, you would, go long there. But ultimately, if you didn't go to break even, then it would fail, right? Because you'd get, when price wick back down, then stop you out.
Yeah. So this is exactly what we was running into yesterday. Is you're taking advantage of these guys right here that are getting screwed. Okay. So if anybody's got an RSI up, they'll see exactly what I'm talking about right here. Okay. Let me delete this box so it's easier to see what I'm about to show you. This is nasty shit too. I mean, this is terrible stuff. So you had your RSI traders that are watching this right here come down into this oversold area. Okay. So you've watched price come down into this and ride the band down. Okay. And then you watch price come up off the RSI oversold spot, right? And now the RSI has made a lower or a higher low. It made a divergence right here. Okay. Well, you've got people that are going long right here. Or not right here, you don't have people that are going long. I'll show you where they went long. So they seen the price come down here, make a higher low. All right. Now they've seen price come up and make a higher high. Okay. They thought this was the bottom. So they bought right here. Okay. Well, that had price come against them a little bit, and then come up in here, and then you had price start to run up real, real high. And then you had late buyers come in, okay? And when you see late buyers come in up here, you've got smart money that's selling this, and you've got people that are late buying this only for it to get smacked down and run against them, right? So this down move is where they got squeezed out, these people and these people, right? They got squeezed out of their position right here, and then only to watch price go into their favor. You know what I mean? So the change in momentum happens right there. But to your point, what you was talking about, there's no way in hell I'd be buying that. No way, because momentum's telling you the move is down. So you would want to sell this move rather than buy it. And if you bought it, you most likely you experienced exactly what these guys got happened to them and these guys. You know what I mean? This is how it happened. And this is where it happened. And you can easily see how it happened with all this volume that come in here where everybody bought once they seen that higher high and higher low, right? You've got the higher high right here, which everybody was looking at, all the RSI traders, and you have the higher low right here. They said, okay, well, this is it. This is where we turn around. Not knowing, what happens right here when you see a momentum coming down, Bollinger Band poke, it gets sold off. And this is where they get screwed. Especially when you see this divergence, this, they get sold off and then they rip price right back into their favor, but only once they squeezed them out. You know what I mean? It's pretty nasty shit. That's what this is, but that works.
And that's what you're saying is basically when smart money stepped in and they sold the shit out of that, they basically wrote it down until the Bollinger Band resold, and then that's why you also got kind of a big upward movement after that, right?
That's it. They squeezed all these guys out of their position.
Yep.
They sold all their, what they bought right here. They sold it right back to them at a lower price, and then they just bought it right back up.
That's so fucked.
It's messed up, man, but it's the damn truth. Now you guys understand the other piece of the puzzle of why I've got these little dots that show up. You know what I mean? Because it's not just the RSI though. It's any really lower momentum indicator. This is how they get screwed. It's terrible. It's not terrible. They'll eventually learn, but I don't know at what cost.
Because momentum was still down on where you would have covered your short there on the Bollinger Band Pierce, would you have not taken the long back up because of that downward momentum still?
That's correct. Yeah. So if I was looking to take a long here, and like this is the messed up part, right? If you took this scenario right here, you're likely to see the same damn thing happen up here. You know what I mean? In this small window, if you're just looking in this small window, you just seen two setups happen that screwed your normal everyday Joe. Okay? But in reality, if you just pull this thing back, you aren't doing nothing but being in a chop zone. You know what I mean? But that's how everybody gets screwed in the chop. You know what I mean? Is like that right there. So the only way I'd ever feel comfortable about buying this would be if price come down here, if you had late sellers show up, you know what I mean? Like a big volume bar down here at the bottom. Basically just like this. If you've seen this kind of a bar and this kind of a volume bar down here, but it being purple and the volume being to the sell side, I would feel comfortable about buying it up to the top of Bollinger Band. As long as momentum supported it. But the odds are you're going to see some red dots show up here in a minute, and you're going to watch some RSI traders get screwed again in the same scenario happen, except the opposite way. And then find out that price got, they got screwed up here, and then they go run price down there, back down here and just into their favor. But after the fact, they clean them up, both ways.
Now, is this really only valid with the RSI indicators, or those traders in particular, or are you saying like that can typically happen at any time? And my point example is 1046. If you jump to 1046, I guess that's kind of what I was seeing. The same thing is, momentum is saying up. You got the lower Bollinger Band poke. You're, in theory, smart money is buying in here, squeezes it up to the next band, and then just sells it off. And now we have the same exact scenario, right?
Yeah, the money was to be made up here. You know what I mean? From down here to up here. But typically you won't see these kinds of setups unless you're in chop, right? These kinds of scenarios where you see people get screwed, these are just little traps that are set all throughout the day, but they're set in times of consolidation. You know what I mean? Is ultimately where it is. But this up here, I mean, it really wasn't a trap. Which it kind of was, really. You had late buyers that got screwed, right here. And they faded it against them. And they squeezed them out probably right here. Yeah, I don't really see the trap right here.
Okay, that's what I'm just clarifying. I wasn't sure
Mhm.
because I wasn't getting a lot of the RSI pips there. Just trying to look at the bigger picture to explain the price action, I guess.
Yeah. And the way I play this stuff right here is when you didn't make that higher high, but, pulling back inside the Bollinger Band, there was no divergence right here. You know what I mean? It was just a spot, right? There was no divergence moving this way. So, the way that I would take this long would be, taking it here, selling it at 13.75, take you another one and sell it to, take you another one, sell it at the Bollinger Band. And if you're just taking a scalp, sell the other one when you see the red dot paint, whenever that may be. That's the way that you ought to be playing that scalp, on the right side of momentum. Okay. But in situations where you see a lower low being made, you know what I mean? And it's pulling away from the Bollinger Band, in your mind, okay, well, if I could take a screenshot or a snapshot of this scenario, this is what a trap looks like. You know what I mean? This is trapping, anybody and everybody right before a move happens. You know what I mean? And this is how it happens. And it typically happens to these lower momentum guys, lower indicator momentum guys. They're not paying attention to this volume and where it's coming in and momentum and stuff like that. And this is what happens. And this happens to the upside and this happens to the downside. Oh, show. Oh.
Magnum, what's the indicator that puts those pips on there?
Oh. GRSI and EMA channel. I just got everything turned off except the little dots. And I've got mine set to 68 and 32, by the way. So anything that's above 68 in terms of RSI, it'll paint one of them red dots. And anything below 32, it'll paint one of them green dots. And be careful, these things repaint. So, sometimes they'll appear and disappear. So be careful.
That's where it helps seeing these 30-second charts, because on the 1 minute, those green pips are not there. That's what's brutal. And it's just like, oh man.
Yeah.
You just see that little bit of extra information,
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I like to scalp. If I'm scalping, I like to look at a 15-second, 30-second. Because it really paints a good picture for you. Well, I'm gonna get me a bite to eat for lunch here, man. I'm gonna mute my mic and step away for a few minutes. But I'll certainly be back shortly.
10-4.